I was born and raised in the West End, born in St. Paul's Hospital, raised in the West End of Vancouver. And in the beginning, I was a very fortunate young fellow. My father was a successful real estate salesman. We owned our own home, and we even owned a family car. And most of you here aren't old enough to remember this, but back in the 40s, if you owned a family car, that was a real sign of wealth. My playground was English Bay. I was probably one of the luckiest kids you ever get to see in Vancouver. One day my dad came home and he said he'd quit his job at H.A. Roberts because he wanted to work in some deals. That sounded pretty good for your 9-year-old kid. Sounds reasonable. We soon realized that he'd quit his job not to work at deals but to take up his addiction of alcohol. And alcohol took charge of our family, our household. And those of you who have experienced it or heard about it, things go bad real quick. And not much long after that, my mother died suddenly of a stroke. Pretty soon there was no car, there was no house, there was no nothing. And, I wandered in and out of rooming houses as my father wandered in and out of beer parlors. I sometimes wonder how I got through high school. As a matter of fact, I got through high school because of help from friends. They could see the pathetic condition that I was living in. And in grade 12, where I transferred out of King George High School, went up to King Ed to try to get to a little better neighborhood because King George in those days was a blackboard jungle. The pastime after school was shoplifting and stealing cars. And I just felt sick. I didn't like the environment, so I transferred myself up to King Ed. They had a football team, and I also wanted to get a different neighborhood. I joined the King Ed football team. As a matter of fact, we were city champs, and I managed to actually, in grade 12, be the starting in from the team, which was a source of immense pride for me. But in grade 12, one of my football buddies saw my situation. He convinced his mother to let me move into the basement and sleep in a cot behind the furnace. Now that doesn't sound like too inviting to you, but I'll tell you that was mighty cozy and comfortable to be behind that furnace every night. And from then on I got into university and went through university with bursaries and scholarships and graduating civil engineering. I got to be honest with you, a starving student in university is a source of pride. That's not the challenge. Starving student in high school is a different deal. You're pathetic, you're felt sorry for, and nobody gives you a chance you can get anywhere. Now, I'm telling you this story for a couple of reasons. I first told this story. First of all, I kept that background of mine. I didn't keep it hidden. I just put it out of my mind for like 30 or 40 years. I didn't want to talk about it. There's no reason to talk about it. And it's interesting, from time to time when I have shared this story, there'll be people who will come up to you afterwards and say, Jim, I've been through that. I know where you've been. I appreciate sharing that with me. So anyway, how could Jim Shepard talk about being a private citizen? What would he know about living paycheck to paycheck? Well, I can tell you, before I graduated from university, certainly in high school days, I knew what it was like to live from no paycheck to no paycheck. So anyway, I just wanted to fill it out a little bit to let you know that I'm not that straight blue suit from downtown Vancouver with all the answers. I never have been. I've always been looking for answers. I've never had too many to get, but I share what I find out.